Good morning, everybody. Kevin Davis here, founder of Kevin Davis Insurance Services. I am a mindfulness facilitator trained by UCLA's Mindfulness Research Center. Um, welcome to what's this week number 4? Wow, the times are going by fast. And this week we're going to talk about something that's really, really special and is more necessary than it ever was before. This week we're going to talk about working with difficult emotions. Yep, that's what we're going to talk about. And I have to say, this has been the perfect time to talk about difficult emotion because it's been a crazy weekend. By the time the weekend was over, I realized that the state governors were saying something totally different than the federal government was saying something totally different than the doctors were saying something totally different. And the more research I go into this, the more I realize that nobody knows what's going on. So right now, I tell you that mindfulness for me is the most incredible and most necessary thing that I have going for me. Because with my mindfulness, I'm able to put all the stuff in a proper perspective. So let's go back to the definition of mindfulness again. Let's go retrace it. When we talk about mindfulness, we talk about paying attention to the present moment experience with openness and curiosity and the willingness to be with what is. The problem is we're not willing to be with it, what is right now because of the anxiety that we have. We have so much anxiety and so much disappointment and so much fear that it's hard to be in the present moment experiences. But the key is this. What we're saying is pay attention to your present moment experiences, not pay attention to your present moment thoughts and emotions. You see, we talked earlier about the way our mind operates. Our mind solves problems. So if we're worried about the coronavirus, if we're worried about our jobs, then what happens, anxiety is created. And again, depression is worrying about what happened in the past, which we made bad choices and bad decisions, so that's what creates our depression. But anxiety is created from thoughts about our future. So right now we have a lot of anxiety because we're spending our time thinking about the future. But while that's happening, our bodies are in the present moment. Our bodies are experiencing the present moment. So if we think about our present moment experience right now, if we think about how our feet are touching the floor, if we put our feet and we focus in on our feet, now we're in the present moment. Take a deep breath. In and out. In and out. If we stop and listen to the sounds outside, now guess what? We're present. Now we're present, and guess what? As a result of us being present, we are willing to be with that experience. So when we're saying the willingness to be what it is, what I'm saying is the willingness to be with that experience of being present. So as we touch our feet to the ground and continue to breathe in a little bit, just take a couple of deep breaths. We're able to deal with the anxiety a little better. So mindfulness is so important today than it ever was before because we're able to deal with a lot of the difficulties that we're now facing. And again, it goes back to difficulties for thoughts and emotions. So when we talk about managing our difficult emotions, and I should say manage our challenging emotions because emotions are emotions. We talk about things like dread and anxiety and frustration. We all feel those things. The problem is that we get caught up in these emotions. They become who we are. We find ourselves that we get angry in the morning and then we stay angry throughout the day. What we do is that we're constantly using these thoughts that we have and these emotions that define who we are. And in reality, emotions and thoughts just come and go. Just like the clouds in the sky or waves on the beach. If you think about waves on the beach, and they constantly go in and out, that's the way our emotions are. That's the way our thoughts are. We have no control over them. They just come over us. The problem is we get caught up in them. And then we don't recognize it's just an emotion. It is dread or rage that we're feeling right now. Okay? But it's an emotion and it's not you. Once it becomes you, then all of a sudden you're adding more things on to these emotions. It's like we talked about last week with physical pain. The worst problem about physical pain is the suffering we add to the pain. Well, guess what? It's the same thing when it comes to difficult emotions. It is the suffering add, it's the shame that we add to the emotion. It's the ability, it's the self criticism that we have that, oh, I dread what's happening right now. I'm anxious about what's happening right now, and not even good enough or smart enough to deal with it. I'm not even worthy of what's going to happen to me. I'm not worthy of things. So what we do, we take an emotion and it goes to a point where we no longer have control over our lives or ourselves. And what we need to do is to always remember to be present. And when we be present, we're able to do a lot better. Now, there's an incredible mindfulness tool that we're going to talk about right now, and it's called RAIN. RAIN is the tool that I use more than any other type of tool to help me to deal with my emotional regulation. Again, I have the same emotions that you have. Just because I do mindfulness and I meditate, everything, nothing changes. I still have the same anxiety, still have the same thoughts, the same emotions. My mind goes back and forth. But with mindfulness, I'm able to really do something about it. So when we talk about RAIN, the R is for recognize, is to recognize the emotion itself. So right now, if I'm feeling anxious because everything is going on, we recognize that it's anxiety, and then we label the emotion. Once we label that emotion, we say it's anxiety or it's fear. Then all of a sudden, it takes a little bit of power away from it. It's like when you talk to your child. I remember talking to my child when they're young, and you ask them, "What's wrong with you right now?" And then you say, "Oh, you're afraid. Or you're hungry." It takes a little power away from it just by recognizing that one little emotion and you label it. So label the fear or anxiety, whatever you're feeling right now, you label it and it goes away. It doesn't go away, but it just makes this a little bit easier to deal with. Again, some of these emotions are really intense and it's hard to really do it. So you start by recognizing. The next thing you do, you accept it. Accepting, do you accept that emotion? Do you accept the anxiety you're feeling right now? Do you accept the fear? If the answer is yes, then again, it lessens the emotion. But sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes you don't accept it. And again, I had a situation where I used this rain about a year or so ago. I had to use it with my sister because my sister was responsible for taking care of my mom. And she did it day in and day out. My mom lived like 3,000 miles away in New Jersey. And all of a sudden, I got angry at her. I got really angry. And so I hung up the phone and I dealt with rain. I recognized the emotions, anger. And the question was, could I accept it? And I couldn't accept it. I couldn't accept it. And I realized when you don't accept it, there's an underlying factor involved, an underlying emotion that you don't really understand. And for me, the underlying emotion was guilt. I realized that I wasn't angry at her. I felt guilt because I wasn't doing the things I could do to help my mother. So once I recognized that it wasn't anger, it was guilt, then I was able to accept the guilt, accept that feeling. And again, it lessened it. It lessened acceptance. Then I had to investigate it. Investigation is the third one. And investigate is not why I had anger issues with my sister based on what she did 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and she didn't do the things I asked her to do and things like that. No, you're investigating how it feels inside your body. If you remember last week, in a couple of weeks since we started, everything has to do with how we experience things inside of our body, how our shoulders are feeling, how our hands are feeling, how our feet are feeling. We go inside our body and see if there's any intenseness in our chest, or do we have any aches, or do we have any heat or warmth, or whatever we feel inside. So as you investigate how your body is feeling, all of a sudden, again, it lessens some of this intense feeling that we have. And finally, and this is the hardest one, is non-identification. Don't identify with it, because we get caught up in some of these emotions and it becomes who we are. You know, if I say I am so angry at my sister, I'm angry at the situation, but which is a lot different than saying I am so angry. A lot of us get trapped in the I am so angry, and guess what happens? We become that person. We become that emotion, and we spend the entire day and the next day and the next day of being angry. So we don't identify with that. Non-identification is so critical. And these are the four things you need to do in order to really deal with these intense emotions that we're feeling, that we constantly feel today, and we're going to feel tomorrow and next week and for a while. Use rain. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to do a meditation right now, where we will experience rain. We're going to bring up a situation that you've went through in the past that you really became emotional about it. It could be a phone call you got from an agent, which happens a lot, where you hang up the phone and you're so angry. It could be something that happened in a household because you're living in a house with other people and you're working and trying to get things done and it's difficult. It could be trying to go to the store, but whatever it is, make it like a level 3, a 4, or a 5. Don't make it level 10. Don't make it level 8, 9, or 10. Keep it in the middle. Keep it on the lines of probably a client that got angry at you or somebody in a household that you got a little bit upset, because these emotions can become overwhelming and you got to be extra careful how you deal with some of these things. So we're going to try again. When we talk about meditation, we talk about keeping our feet, feeling our feet to the floor. As we feel that experience, the present moment experience, is that's what we're trying to do, is be present. Our body is always present, no matter how anxious we become. Our body is still in the present moment, and our minds are going into the future. So what we're going to do is bring everything into the present moment. It's like a string that's being pulled up to the top of your head. You're taking a couple of deep breaths. And now you're going to breathe normally. Let's bring our attention to the sounds that we hear. Just open up our hearing to the sounds outside or the sounds inside the room you're at. Just listen. There's no judgment. They're not good sounds. They're not bad sounds. They're just sounds. So just recognize the sounds. There's no stories to the sounds. They're just sounds. There's a dog barking. You don't wonder why he's barking, or is he after somebody. You just listen to the sounds. And now we're going to bring our attention to the breath as we breathe in the nose and exhale through the nose. We're going to breathe into the chest, raising the chest, exhale from the chest. From the abdomen area, we're going to breathe in. And we're going to exhale from the chest. So you pick one, whichever one most comfortable. You go through the nose, the warm air goes in, cool air exhales. From the chest rises, and chest lowers. I like the chest. So my experience is chest rising, exhaling. Breathe in, down. Our minds wander, kind of bring it back to the breath. As soon as you notice your mind wandering, you're being present. And you bring it back. If you feel any intense emotions or any kind of emotions, acknowledge it. Don't ignore it. Label it. Just bring it back. Everything, our present moment, just breathing in and out. Our minds do wander. Don't ignore it. Just acknowledge it. And just bring it back to your breath. Or you prefer sounds, listen to the sounds. We'll have our favorite. Whatever it is, it grounds us to the present moment. Pay attention to the sounds. If you want to hear the sounds, just listen. By noticing the sounds, you're in the present moment. They're not annoying sounds. They're not good sounds or bad sounds. They're just sounds. Just realizing that they're in the present moment, that you are present. And now we're going to bring our attention to the feet. We're going to feel our feet touching the ground. We're going to feel the sensations of our feet as they just be on the ground. We're going to feel our toes. We're going to feel our heels to the ground. We're going to notice sensation. Is there tightness? Is it warm? What are we feeling in the feet? Is it a comfortable feeling? Does it make us feel good? How is the feet really? What are the sensations in the feet? How would we describe them? Then we bring our attention up the leg. What is our leg doing? Is it resting against the back of the chair? Or it's just air just going through them? And if it's air, what's the sensation? Maybe no sensation at all. Maybe it's a neutral sensation. And most of your sensation is in the feet. And if it is, that's okay. And what about our thigh and our bottom as we rested on the chair? We noticed our bottom on the chair and our legs on the chair. And our hands, are our hands comfortable, grasped together on our lap, or is it stretched out on our legs? What's the most comfortable spot for our hands? Is it one clasping the other hand? What about our thumbs and our fingers? Just relax them. Relax our hands. Relax our arms. Just notice the relaxation of our arms as they attach to the hands. Now we're going to relax the shoulders. Just drop the shoulders. Relax the shoulders. Soften your shoulders. You want to just relax right now. Again, if your mind starts to wander, just bring it back. Notice your shoulders rising back up as your mind wanders. Just relax your shoulders. Now let's bring attention to our face, our forehead. Our forehead has lots of tension. Those lines in our forehead, just soften the lines. Soften the forehead, just relax your forehead. Soften the eyes, just relax your eyes. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue. Just totally soften it and relax your face. Just soften your entire body, your neck, to your shoulders. And just notice any sensations in your body right now. Notice your chest area. Any tightness. If it is, kind of soften it a little bit. If there's any tightness, bring it to a part of your body that's calm right now, that feels good. It could be your feet, it could be your hands. Is there issues in your stomach area? Do you feel any sensations, anything uncomfortable? Just soften it. Now I want you to bring to mind a situation that was totally uncomfortable for you. A phone call from a client, a conversation you had at home, difficult conversation you had with somebody you really truly care about. Just bring a situation to mind, some anger, just bringing it. How did it feel inside your body when you feel that anger? When you feel that situation, when you feel the discomfort, the dread, the frustration. Notice how it feels in your body. Notice, and we're going to use rain. So as you feel that sensation, as you feel that emotion, again, don't make it too intense. Just stick with maybe a bad conversation you had with a client. Now, first, we're going to use the R. We're going to recognize that emotion. What is that emotion you're feeling? Just label that emotion, frustration, anger. They didn't pay attention to you. They didn't fill the app out completely. They want a quote and you told them to have it tomorrow. They want it now. Whatever you're feeling, label it. Frustration, anger. Just let that be there for a second, that label. And now, can you accept it? Can you accept that is the problem? It was a frustration. If you can accept it, great. If you can't accept it, what was the underlying emotion you felt? Was it shame? Was it guilt? Was it embarrassment, humiliation? Because you feel you didn't do your job, that you're not worthy. If it is, go back and say it was humiliation. You felt humiliated by the agent. And now you recognize it's humiliation. And now you go, you can accept it. Now you investigate how it feels in your body. You bring that emotion back. You felt it in your shoulders. You felt it in your chest. You felt it in your stomach. You felt it in your hands. Your hands got cold and clammy. Your shoulders rose up. You felt your blood pressure. You felt your thoughts going all different directions. Well, when that happens, find a part of your body that feels good. If it's your hands clapping the other hand, if your feet touching the floor, go back to that sensation. Go back to when your body felt really good and at ease. If your body is totally intense, just come up with a time when your body felt pretty good. And you go back. Same thing we did last week when you felt physical pain. You go back and forth. When emotion comes in, your body tense up, soften the shoulders. Put one hand in the other, hold the other hand. Bring yourself present. Feel your feet. Go back to the sounds and go back to the breath. You notice right now you feel that tenseness, that anxiety. Soften it. Go back to labeling it. Acceptance. As we investigate it, go back to the part of the body that feels neutral or calm. And go back to breathing. Stay with the breath. And now we use the N in RAIN, which is non-identify. You're angry, but you're angry at the agent because the agent didn't do his job properly. But you're not an angry person. You don't identify with that anger. The anger is a situation. It is not who you are. And now we're going to go back to being in the present moment. The anger, the emotion is still there, but you kind of look at it like a sideward glance. You're recognizing it's there, but what you truly are doing is bring it back into the breath. Where you bring it back to the sounds, and you bring it back to the present moment. Your present moment experiences is sitting here in the chair. You're paying attention to your feet. You're paying attention to your breath. You're paying attention to the sounds. Our thoughts and emotions can overwhelm us, and they do. But most of the times, it's anxiety about the future, not about the present moment. Right now, in this present moment, how are we feeling? Just keep breathing in, breathing out. Now I'm going to ring the bell in a second. Just take your time to come back. Don't rush into it. Slowly open your eyes. And there we go. And that's how we deal with difficult emotions. That's how we manage them, by using mindfulness. You see, our bodies are always in the present, but our thoughts and emotions right now are in the future. We are spending all our energy worrying about tomorrow, and our fears and our anxieties all about tomorrow. When our bodies are staying present, as long as we are present, we will be in better shape than those who are not. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Our exercise for this week is going to be a pretty cool exercise. It's called Leave No Trace. So what we're going to do is take a room in our house. Hopefully it's the kitchen. For me, it's the kitchen because that's where I always leave my mess. And I'm going to leave no trace. I am going to walk in there and treat it the way it was from the first time I moved into it. And so I want everybody to take this week, and just for 1 week, just like you never left this space. So and it's great too in this time because we're all home right now. If you all take time to leave, clean up our mess, or do the things we're supposed to do, it benefits everybody else in the household. So that's our exercise for the week. I want to thank you again, and always, always remember our 5 at 5. Oh, I forgot our kindness. All right. Yes. Um, our cleansing moment, our celebration moment. We have to celebrate. Um, Celebration is it's so important, and that's what I'm saying. By celebrate is being kind to yourself. Um, we need to be kind to ourselves. If you want a cookie, eat a cookie. You know, we're all going to look differently when we go back to work. We're all going to look like it. We have to accept the fact that we've all gained a little weight and go, wow, you look. Yes, we can't be that. We have to be nicer, but we have to be able to be kind to ourselves because we're all overwhelmed. We are tremendously overwhelmed right now. And just taking a moment and being kind to ourselves by saying things like, may I be safe, may I be well, may I be at ease, and just take a couple of deep breaths, we'll be good. Um, so thank you again. Thanks very much. I appreciate these weeks. We got a couple more weeks left. After these weeks are over, we'll see. I may continue to do these things while we're home. This has been great for me. Again, everything that I expressed to you is my own personal feelings. So as we leave here, I feel better, a little bit better. I hope everybody else feels a little bit better, and look forward to next week. We'll deal with cultivating positive emotions. We'll spend half an hour dealing with just positive emotions, being kind and generous and gracious to each other, and it'll be a lot of fun next week. Okay, see you next week, guys. Thanks very much.